Hey, shalom, shalom, saints. This is Pastor John Tatum from Building Your Faith Worship Center. I'm here with two of the wonderfulest people that I've ever met in a very, very long time. This is our brother Spann and sister Spann, and I want to give you an opportunity to hear from them, hear their testimony and their journey of how they got from where they were all the way over to the Hebraic understanding of faith. And I think you guys will really enjoy this. So we're going to talk to Brother Spann first so he can give a little background of himself and where he come from and sort of tell us who he is. And then we'll go into a little bit more of understanding and seeing their journey and hearing their story. And this is truly going to be a blessing to you. Come on, Brother Spann, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, just very briefly, I was born and raised in East Chicago, Indiana. Went to undergrad at Florida A&M University, where I received a degree in architecture. And I finished up my education at the University of Illinois Champaign, where I got an MBA in real estate finance. After grad school, worked for a foundation for about 18 years. After that, did some consulting work for about a year. And for the past year and a half, I've been working with Ivy Tech Community College, currently serving in the role of Associate Director of Admissions for our Lake County campus.
Beautiful, beautiful. Come on, sister.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Michele Spann, and I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I moved to Chicagoland when I married this gentleman here.
Hunk of a stud, man. Look at it.
Yeah, Michigan, I went and stole her from Michigan.
It'll be 11 years for us, actually, this month, November. My background is in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for well over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And have had a lot of different experiences. And I'm also a flautist as well.
All right. This was a sister that was playing the flute, man. It was just anointing. Anointing us. We're so glad that you was able to do that for us and just show us your gifts and talents that the Father's blessed you with. Give me your journey of how you guys came from. I know you guys was from the Baptist church, the Baptist faith, and you understanding the Bible from that perspective and point of view. Tell the audience a little bit about how you came to understanding that you wanted to hear more or come to understanding that we the people of the book and the truth about what the Bible is really saying. Mm-hmm. Give us that background.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's been about a year, maybe a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this question in regards to the condition of the Black community.
Yeah.
And really wanting to have an understanding in regards to, as spiritual as we are,
Yeah.
as many churches that we have in our community, why are we in the state that we're in?
Yeah.
1 + 1 was not equaling 2.
Wow.
And so that question is what caused me to start doing some reading, research, inquiring, searching, to really have an understanding in regards to what is it.
Right.
And so in that, I came across some information in regards to providing information. It was actually a teaching about our identity as not African Americans, but that we are the children of Israel. And the information that was provided was strictly coming from the scriptures, so it wasn't debatable.
Yeah.
Very clear in regards to Deuteronomy 28 and the other text that was shared. And when I heard it, instantly it clicked. It made sense. And I'm like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some more reading, bought some books, took the text, built out a whole nother library in the house.
I got you.
Just to really get an understanding of not just the identity piece as being the children of Israel, but coming to understand the importance of being in relationship and in alignment with the commandments, the teachings, the precepts. And so that's, what really started us, yeah.
How did you get Brother Spann coming on in? What did you think after she came and started talking to you a little bit about it? Because usually, I'm telling you, it's either one person gets it and the other person or spouse don't get it. That's what I've often been, sort of looking at down through the years since we've been teaching the word and walking in this way. It's always like either the wife gets it and the husband don't get it, or the husband gets it and the wife don't get it. So you guys, what made you see what your wife was telling you and talking to you about, the discussions y'all had?
Well, listening to some of the teachings on YouTube videos, it started to make sense. I guess I was getting to a point, and I think this is all a part of Yah's plan, is that he was kind of working on me, even though I really didn't realize he was working on me. But I started to, as I was going to church, and again, this church that I was born and raised in that church.
Born and raised
in that church. My family is my family's church. My grandparents,
wow.
Everything. Our whole family was a part of that church.
Mm.
But over the last couple of years, and it's not just with that particular church. It's just the whole Baptist religion. It's just something that just wasn't settling in my spirit for some reason. I couldn't quite understand why.
Okay.
But then when I started to listen to the truth and started doing my own study,
Yeah.
it just made so much sense to me.
Wow.
In regards to those, I didn't know at that point that I was looking for answers,
Yeah.
but it began to answer questions that I guess subconsciously I was having during that time period.
Yeah.
A lot of those seeds I guess were planted in my entire life. And just started to put the pieces together, kind of like the puzzle.
Yeah.
You start to put the corners together, put the edges together, and then you start filling the puzzle in, and you start to see the whole picture coming together. And as I was telling you, I guess one day, I really started to understand the phrase, having the scales fall from your eyes.
Hallelujah.
I never, you hear those types of things, but you didn't really understand it until I started to come to truth and started to really see it and understand it for myself.
Yeah.
And really seeing like, yes, this is what's been missing. I didn't know it was missing, but that's what's been missing.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, everything started to tie in and make sense for me in regards to our existence here, the problems and the constant persecution that we as Hebrews and people of color, blacks, were facing all these times, and the conditions of our communities. Just the whole dynamic. It just resonated and made sense to me.
Hallelujah. Now, that's, powerful, powerful testimonies of how the Father started just working in your heart, and he started dealing with you. So the next question then would logically be, what are you going to do about this information? How did you guys find me or research or find any way to get to me to connect some more? Or who was you listening to prior to? And you don't have to reveal their name if you don't want to, but what was the road to finding out, to see, was there other people that actually was having these same feelings, these same thoughts, and these same type of things happening? They're seeing the Bible for the first time in a whole different way. What led to the road to how you connected with me?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, it's been about a year or a little over a year.
Yeah.
So over that whole time span, we were at home in our living room. In the summertime, I was on the front porch.
This way it always starts. Yes, she's a porch lady.
Yeah, I would be on the porch on Shabbat, tuning in to, I had some ministries that I follow. Can I mention yours?
If you want to.
Okay. So there was a pastor, actually it was his video that I learned, but then my weekly was, rather this, that he went to Israel with.
Prince Israel?
Yes, Prince Israel.
Okay.
So, I would tune into his telephone conferences.
Yeah.
But then there was another brother on Fridays, Brother Yonah Golab.
Okay.
And that's when I learned of your ministry.
Okay.
So he had a guest on a Friday evening,
Mm-hmm.
Brother Dana.
Okay.
And one of the questions was in regards to the Hebrew fellowships that he was in affiliation with. And this is our son, Mr. Matthew. We're actually videotaping.
That's all right.
It's our son.
Yeah, so you have to go back. We are taping. Okay. Thank you. So we just got
Hey Matthew, come on back and wave, man. Something.
Wave at the people, Matthew.
Yeah.
So tell them, say shalom to them.
Say shalom.
Shalom.
Right there, say shalom.
Shalom.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I love children.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love children.
so we just got photobombed.
That's all right.
That's
Well, at least it's our son that did it, so
Yeah,
that's-
that's our son. So the Brother Dana mentioned your ministry,
Mhm.
and that had been a prayer that we had, because we didn't want to be at home in the living room or on the front porch every Shabbat.
It's not fun to
It's
be
not
watching
fun.
nobody
Yeah.
through the internet.
You know?
Yeah, because winter was coming, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, we're not doing that outside.
Yeah, and the more understanding that we had, we wanted to be connected during the feast and really wants to walk this out and live it out and not be isolated, but to be connected with a community who believes.
There's a lot of people out there, and that's all they do is watch videos and watch internet and just go from person to person on the internet listening, and that is the extent of their growth.
Right.
They never want to be connected to a ministry where there's actually going to be some kind of accountability. There's going to be somebody looking at you and saying, hey, fellowship and
Checking you.
the interaction. Yeah, the interaction.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they believe that's the way to learn, and that's you get knowledge, you get some information that way, but there's nothing that can replace actually the face-to-face
That's right.
contact, the touch,
Right.
the feeling, the being among other believers that believe just like you. So I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
So I told my husband, I said, honey, there's a ministry in our area, not too far from us. And he's like, okay, go ahead and Google them, So I reached out, and here we are today.
Well, hallelujah. Well, let me ask this question. This is for brother Spann here. When you came, because you came to my house at first, we didn't
came to your
have
house
this
at first.
building at first, and what was your impression, man? You leaving a church that your family grew up in, grandmama and them,
Yeah.
the choir singing, man, y'all shouting, dancing and running.
I'm on the trustee board.
Yeah, you're the trustee, man.
Yeah,
He
I'm
ain't
a
trustee.
trustee. Yeah.
What did you think, man, coming to my living room to have church?
Well, it was definitely interesting. And as I always say, the Father has a very good sense of humor.
Yes.
Because I always said that, well, if I do find another church, I'm not going to church in Chicago because I don't feel like driving. Probably not going to do it in Illinois. And now I don't really want to drive far. And of course, your church, your house was in, not Richmond, what was it? Well, all the way on Lake in Will County.
Yeah.
And now here we are currently in University Park. So yeah, it has a very funny sense of humor. So everything I said I wasn't going to do, that's what I ended up doing. But I kept an open mind about it. Because we had a conversation on the phone prior to us actually coming to church and wanted to see what this experience was going to be like.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept open mind. I said, well, okay, I'm going to be in this house. I've been to stranger places, but I will honestly say this, that the message that you gave that day, it was probably the most I had gotten out of a sermon in I don't know how long.
Wow.
And the message just reaffirmed and confirmed a lot of things that was kind of brewing in my heart and kind of seeing. So I felt the connection there. And it says, and even though it was in your living room, it didn't feel like, you're going to somebody's house or anything of that nature. So and I have to really thank you, your family, and the rest of our memberships because they took us in and treated us like family from day one. Never felt like we were out of torch, and I can't thank you and your family enough for opening up your house for us two strangers to just kind of drop out of nowhere, on that whole piece, and made us feel very comfortable and wanted us to come back and welcome. So that was a big
Hallelujah.
piece. So that was a big piece of it.
That's good.
But it was really the messaging and the word, and just it's that confirmation about the feelings and the things that I've been made aware of, and kind of opening up. That felt okay. This is something that I think we need to explore.
Are you still at the church or what? What what happened with the church, man?
No. Well, it says it is. Again, it's kind of weird that we had kind of not been for a couple of Sundays, but before we came here. But once we came that service that one Saturday, it really didn't feel the same to me as far as like going back to a Christian church. So after we were here for about, I think we visited you for about 6 weeks, you know, my wife and I had a conversation and we're like, this is it. This is where we feel welcome. This is where we feel at home. So with some heaviness, we did submit our formal resignation to our church.
Good.
And it's not so much the fact of leaving the Christianity, but again, as I said, these were people who are and still are family. They knew me since I was literally a baby.
I get it.
You know, and saw me grow up, and then good times, bad. You know, so I still feel connected to them from that aspect of it, but just could not deny ourselves and pretend to be something that we weren't anymore. That we knew that this was not the truth that as we believe it to be.
Yeah.
So we just couldn't go back to that lifestyle. So
Hallelujah.
no sense of pretending, because that's not God wants us to be. He wants us to be our true authentic selves.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to cheat my old church either by giving them a part of me. You know, just being there in name only. So wanted to make it official because I had that much respect for the people that were there. Because again, they are still family and friends.
Yeah.
Just let them know that, you know, we won't be official members anymore. You know, so in that moment, I think it was a couple weeks ago that we did that.
Hallelujah. Well, we're just so glad and our hearts are overjoyed that you decided to come and fellowship, and you felt the connection, and you felt the whole. Here, you're not members here either, in the sense of we got a role that you got to sign. You know, I know the Baptist church, right. You don't have seats, you know, that we put in front of you know, the whole congregation.
I can't
Christian experience.
I can't buy my front pew. I can't buy my front pew.
No, none of that. You know, you're actually members of the body of Yeshua, and this is just a vehicle that the Father used us to make some things clear to you, so that you can have a clear understanding of what the will and His purpose and His direction is for your life. And we just thank the Father that you guys are here with us in fellowship, because that's what we call it. This is an assembly of Israelites, and all Israelites are welcomed in our assembly. And we just thank the Father that you guys have decided to just sort of fellowship and be here as we can, you know, create, build, sustain, and grow the kingdom of Yah to build a better world in this community. Are there any final thoughts? You want to say something else or about the ministry of being here, you know, what it has meant to your family so far?
Absolutely. Well, it definitely is a blessing to be a part of building your faith ministry. Especially very important for, you know, our son to be raised the correct way.
Hallelujah.
Understanding to honor and worship Yah in spirit and in truth. And this is a fellowship where our son and as a family that we will continue in that way and having that connection, that accountability, and as a people just coming together and being authentic in regards to who we are, and that's what this fellowship represents.
Hallelujah. Well, there you go. You heard it, saints. I hope this testimony has inspired and encouraged some people to look, understand. It's always good to look again when you've been told something. You know, that's what I had to do. I had to look again. And when I looked again at some of the scriptures that I missed, and I was like, wow, how long has this been in the Bible?
Exactly.
But I thank the Father that you guys looked again. He stirred your hearts. He drew you to a place where you can, you know, get some different answers, some clearer answers, clear understanding. And we just thank the Father for you and your family. And you guys heard it all and here at Building Your Faith Worship Center. So we're going to say Shabbat Shalom. But the Shabbat is over. It's actually the first day of the week. And this is what the saints do. We sit around and we talk. We got a chance to eat. Did y'all enjoy the food today?
Absolutely.
We got full off the food, full off of spiritual food, then go back there and get filled, get full off of other natural food. So we're just so happy and glad for this day. Truly, this is the day that Yahweh has made. We're going to rejoice, be glad in it. So shalom to everybody. Bless y'all.